Alright, so in this one, I was just looking through characters last night, and I was just thinking, like, we have, more specifically, one character that actually have very low stars that's been returned a few times, and it is kind of tragic. LF Piccolo. So this unit's returned, I believe, a total, let me buy his alternate color, because why not, of 5 times since his release banner, not including his release banner. Including his release banner on new unit banners, he's been out 6 times. This unit is DBL 22. So this is a 33-month-old unit that's returned 5 times on new unit LF banners. And I only have him 10 stars, and on top of, there's more problems. What this whole video's premise is centered around the idea of Zenkais and not how actually good they once were and how good they are even becoming again. But what do we do with characters that have a plat equip, characters that have a Zenkai, and they have nowhere to move? This is more specifically LS, obviously, with like Beerus, name it, Goku, OG3Q, Goten, Piccolo, more specifically, you know, awakened plats already, like Goten and like FSK and all these characters, right? But what do we do? What are the solutions to make these Zenkai characters, especially the LF ones, because these are the ones supposed to be good aging characters? Like, you look at, I don't even know who the best aging one would be. Maybe LF First Form Frieza. You look at him, very good aging, still great today. Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, still great today, after a couple months, actually a lot of months of being out in the game. But how do we make that be a sustainable and retainable thing? Now, I'm going to name a couple solutions. It'll be from the most player-accessible solutions to the situation of what will probably happen, and the solution that's not really a solution to most players, but it is a solution. You could probably assume what I'm going to refer to in that by the end of this video. But, just to say, his name is Harry, her name is Elsa, please name the snowman. Now we continue and get into it. So what would be the first thing we would want for Legends to do to fix just the aging? Not necessarily the power creep, because power creep's going to exist, but help maintain and be more sustainable power creep, where it's just not, okay, these top 5 units are the only thing usable, and everything else doesn't even matter. They shouldn't even be in a tier list in this categorization of these top 5 units. How do we get it towards, like, top 30 units are all near par to one another? Obviously, 1 is a lot better than 30, but, like, they're still near par. Like, you could actually go from, like, a Z plus standard to, like, an S plus from, like, 1 to 30, right? How do we get there? Now, the first way I would say this, again, this is meant to be for all units, but Zenkai's been specific because these are the ones that already got their big buff. They got their big debut break of from when they first existed to where they are now, and, you know, they're meant to be their best power of now, right? It would be balance changes. We used to have these once upon a time. Actually, it was before I even started playing the game that we had balance changes. I think they stopped after a little bit of first anniversary, but we could hypothetically get balance changes again. I can tell you units that can easily use these. You can tell you units that could easily get through these and still just be complete dog water. But, I mean, it is something that does exist, something that did exist, something they can do. And maybe it would be, again, this is the very optimistic scenario, and it's not most likely the realistic one, but nonetheless, it would be something that actually gives more diversity to the game. Like how they do the LBR, they kind of want to have you, use different teams and have diversity there using the DBL 1 through 08 characters, right? They want you to use different teams, use these old characters, see what you can do. And it honestly just ends up being a Zenkai show because no old character has retainability. And I'm not saying people from DBL 01 need to be good today, but I am saying units that are DBL 40 and DBL 54, where we are right now, DBL 55, whichever it is, need to be good, right? We don't really have characters that, and we could go to order received, characters from, just scrolling down a little bit here, a couple months ago. Okay, let me look at Yamcha, who is DBL 31. Alright, I'll give it a little break. I'll go a little bit up, and let's go to, I'm looking at Evo, I'm looking at Ape, let's go to you, right? DBL 39. This unit shouldn't be the worst thing in the world, and this is probably right now like a tier 1 unit, and that's being nice because of how good hybrids are. If I look at Nappa, who came on the same exact banner, this unit is probably like, I don't know, tier 1 unit as well. It's not, probably worse because actually of the, everyone's probably tier 2, honestly. But it's more worse because obviously the tag 4s exist, and it's just like there's so far and few between units that actually age well. Like, this dude had the best plat for, like, arguably months, because G4's was not really consistent because not many revival units. Cells is just better because of consistency, right? He had the best plat for months, so he's fine. But let me look at Green Broly, who's dead on release, especially after boost. GV, who's dead after boost. Sword of Hope, who's dead because you dropped the androids, and this is just a different argument, but when you drop units that just completely decimate everything, it's just crazy beyond belief. But you look at all these units just in this entire picture here, what is there? There is 0 good units. Like, 0 units you would say are really good right now in this entire picture. And these units are not old. These units are a little bit before Anniversary began, because we scroll up just a tad bit here. Oh look, Anniversary starts. So why do I have it where LF Bardock, or Jiren, or AGF, or Gammas 1 and 2 aren't very good? It shouldn't be that, right? They should get power creeped. Yes, units should fall down in their value. I agree with this. But there should be a Kickstarter type of thing, I guess you could call, going on for these units just as well. Like, why don't we have a situation where it's like, okay, these 15 free-to-play units will all get 80% damage inflicted, and then 40% a cut for this entire season of PvP, because they are going to be in a featured slot of usage, and when you use them, you get more RP with them, and then blah, blah, blah. Why not have that? Why not have it DBO characters 30 through 45 all get boost of featured boost until the end of the next week, and then characters, you know, preceding that or before that, all get these feature boosts, and they kind of just all kind of come back a little bit, not too much, because feature boost doesn't fix everything, but giving these units like AGF or the droids, giving them their little amp back, make a lot more sense. If you're not doing balance changes, you kind of go the ulterior mode of yes, we're balancing the game for that specific week or 2 weeks meta, whichever you want to do, and then we kind of, okay, drift it back, and then these units are back to irrelevant. I'd obviously prefer if the unit's kit got changed itself, but if they were to do, like, okay, 8 weeks of this grouping of DBL01 through DBL35, all in this S tier, A tier, whatever, S or A tier boost, and then from there on, good luck, have fun. Here are the next 4 weeks of characters, and then etc, etc, etc. With that, you actually have a little bit more of diversity. I wouldn't say the game becomes fully diverse, because the top units will still be the top units, and that's kind of the point. You want the top units to stay as good as they are. You also don't want these units to fade out of existence. So there's a very hard line to hit there, and I feel like Legends just, well, they all in on the one portion of, okay, well, we can't hit that hard line. We don't care enough to hit that hard line. Look, listen, we could try, but, like, what's the point? And that's kind of what we're doing right now with, again, you look at, like, a top 10 list, the top 3-4 units, I would say at least, honestly, I would say top 2, because I think Beast and Tag 4s are top 2, right? I would say top 2 units are, like, Z plus standard in their full setting of kit, and then the units below that are all, like, Z, and then once you get to, like, I don't know, 6 or 7, you're probably hitting a threshold of, like, an S plus. Then by the bottom of top 10, you can argue unit is, like, barely S plus, or, like, top of S. That's from the highest of the highest, and you could argue S for characters because of how just worse off they have become over time. Like, I don't know. It's tough, but essentially, I would just say balance changes, you know, update some kits. It wouldn't be the worst thing if you want to have a season where you update, like, 8 God Key unit kits, and they're like, alright, well, for this season, you got all these God Key units, we got their big buff on their kits. This will be gone by the end of the season, but you have it now, so use that shit, and then maybe that alludes to what buffs will be coming from that week of the All-Star banner, of the LF banner, of the Ultra banner. It kind of just goes in tandem with that. So it's like, oh my god, God Key got our big buff. Oh my god, we have our A tier boost now, our feature boost, all of us, we can all do everything we want to do in the world. Not true, but it also gives it a sense to summon, by the way, which is what they want you to do, summon. They're like, okay, everyone's using God Key now because they want to try it again. Maybe people will fade off from it a couple of days, but then, boom, we drop a banner of, you know, Super Saiyan God Goku from the Beerus fight, and then we drop a banner of, I don't fucking know, whatever, ROF, fucking Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta with, like, a Goku assist. I don't fucking know. You drop something like that, and it's like, oh, well, it kind of faded off the usage of God Key, but you kind of got us back into it here. All right. And then you summon on that. You start using God Key again. God Key gets a Zenkai that next week before the season ends. And then they move on to the next tag. Now, I'm not saying they have to, like, only do, you know, one tag every 2 weeks. I'm just giving a hypothetical there that would actually incentivize people to summon and use those tags. And it's like, oh, why am I not already using this? Oh, wait, now I realize it. I have to summon for this unit. Now I can use this tag even more so after the boost ends. Maybe not with the same characters, but at least with this new character, I have an incentive to want to play the game more because I'm a God Key main, etc., etc., etc. You see how there's like a steamroll effect, which actually gives you more bang for your buck. Again, that's what Legends really cares for, bang for their buck. Well, if you feature boost this tag, which people care about, like USS or God Key or Regen or whatever the fuck, Vegeta Clan, for fuck's sake, please. And then from there, you also give buffs to that tag during that setting. Well, people will want to play. People will want to use the tag. People will be using the tag. Not as common as the best units. I understand that. But they'll actually be able to compete with the pretty dead tag because you gave them a new unit on top of a boost of these old units. I would just say the new unit doesn't have to get featured boost, but that's not going to change. So, in whole, just give these old units their big buff for that season. Every Vegeta Clan, every regen unit, every absorption, every PO, every of these tags that's going to get buffed within those week spans of how long you do this, setting a feature boost for these older units, if not just entire tags. You allude to the buffs so people know what's coming, right? People like to know so they know what the fuck's gonna happen. That's why people stay so long for Legends Fest, for Anniversary, because they know what's gonna happen when you drop shit prior to droids. Beast! Had a big sneeze there, apologies. When you drop that stuff, and it's prior to, people get all fuzzy and just confused, because right now, everyone's confused. They're like, so I'm supposed to summon for the tag 4s that are worse than Beast? Why would I be doing that? That'd just be moronic, right? People summoned for, Bardock, Jiren, and they were like, okay, oh shit, Ultra Cow King came out, well fuck, I should have summoned for that. Oh wait, the droids came out, well why would I summon for MEY, Dragon Fist, and USV? Maybe not USV, maybe you could argue USV is worth it more. Because, well, his banner wasn't, but he's worth it more because of Ultra Gogeta existing, right? That duo obviously helped, not put an end, but help stop the android flood that had existed for months there, for like 4 months straight. So it's like, why would you summon for this or this when this already exists? Same thing with Beast Gohan. They had that issue. So that's why people like to anticipate and try to pre-anticipate what's going to happen. That's why putting these, broken godly units prior to big celebrations is very scummy, because people don't anticipate that. But when we can anticipate this X buff because this X unit is featured in this X boost for this X season, these are things that actually make players want to summon, play the game, do dailies, get their little logins, blah, 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 blah. People actually want to play at that point because they know what's expected, they have an expectation, and that should not be faltered as well. Hopefully it just gets implemented in some minor manner, because there has to be a way to stop units from getting just thrown to the garbage can after their feature boost, after a couple weeks, after this big bad unit came out. There's got to be a way, and it shouldn't be, okay, wait 5 months for their, meta to return, and they're going to be better in this meta. It shouldn't be that, because metas are dependent on how good the unit's value usually is from release, because usually the unit is best on release, and the meta shouldn't be determined by, okay, this one unit came out, so all these other 50 units, not because they're bad, but because this unit's just too good, has to drop. That's not really how a meta is formed. A meta is... it's kind of just spawned from what the best of the best is. And when you make too high of a best unit, that's far eclipsing other units that are pretty good already, you're not really making a meta, you're making like a cult. So, Legends right now is kind of like a cult mentality, because, find me a match that's not Beast and Pan run together. Like, if you could do that, I'd be grateful, because 1 in every 10 matches, that's honestly being very kind, is going to be Beast and Pan together. So, I would say that's at least an idea that allows for some diversity. I know it wouldn't change the whole entire meta, but it would at least give you a reason to want to use these old units, because you know what's coming, you want to try out the team, you want to see how they could do on these feature boosts. I would say, yes, that idea would fall down a little bit until the units came out, but that'd be the point, to make you summon for these new units, because you just tested out this team, you saw the potential, you're like, alright, maybe I can make this work if I wail on this banner for this all-star unit of Super Saiyan God Goku from the Battle Gods fight, And then from there, hey, they got your bang for your buck. Maybe it's not worth it for you, but for them, that was their plan anyways. So it kind of just works in both directions. If it does work out for you as a player, great. But if it doesn't, well, it doesn't matter to them anyways. So I feel like it just works out in a whole situation more than not. There's not really a finite solution to this problem, because Legends doesn't like to make solutions to their problems. They like to make more problems with their problems, like Beast Gohan existing with Pan. But nonetheless, the other solution, and it's not a solution, this is the most band-aid bullshit I could ever see, but it is what we have already. It's just further done. What I'm referring to is they would Zenkai 14, I don't know, increase Zenkai, right? Obviously make the unit refurbished to an extent where you have to summon, you have to use CC, you have to do Gauntlet, whatever they do. I mean, if they got implementation of like Zenkai 14, how every new system works is they're very premium, they're very paid for in the beginning, and then after like 6 months to a year, then they're more free to play. Like, reminder, OG Zenkai's was it 30k CC? I don't know. I think it was 21k CC to Zenkai 7 characters. I Zenkai 3'd Fat Boo, and I knew that took 7k CC, so I'm pretty sure it was 21k CC to Zenkai 7 characters, and this was very premium back then because very few were out. And this implementation of Zenkai 14 is just it's a quick buck money exchange for Legends, because at that point, that's just a balance change, right? Because all they're doing is updating the kit, they're updating the stats. That's what a balance change once was, once upon a time. So Zenkai 14 is more realistic for a quick buck. Legends is a very quick buck game with how they sell erasers, with how they sell their LFZ power on the weekend, with how they sell the, what was it, Super CC. I think they stopped actually doing Super CC just at this point because the other thing is just easier for them, I guess, to get their profit off. I don't know. But how they sold all these things a quick buck manner, even with like, didn't we used to have like normal Z power in that shop like way long ago? We used to have like normal sparking Z power in that shop when it first got implemented. Again, they usually make these things very premium. And referring back to the Zenkai point, again, the premium currency there was 21,000 CC. You couldn't even hold as much CC as you needed to get the Zenkais done. Like, it's kind of arbitrary. Also, please increase the CC limit, because everything is through exchange shops besides one thing in this entire celebration, and it's just like, who the hell is this? Like, what are you even trying to do? You're trying to make us summon because we can't get CC? Well, that's so ignorant. Like, it's not going to do that. Like, it shouldn't, at least. It just makes no sense. But yeah, I would say Zenkai 14 is the ulterior motive, more the focus motive, actually, that they would probably go down. And with that, I don't even know how they do it, to be real. Like, is that really the path for it? You just see more borders and borders and borders on your characters, and that's really just it? Like, I feel like it's very ignorant. And what about characters that couldn't get fulfilled from a Zenkai 14? Like, let me go through like a hypothetical here. I don't know. Let's touch on a really bad Zenkai. Mr. Ambulance, how you doing? A really bad Zenkai. Red Super Saiyan Goku. Like, give me a real take. If this guy gets a Zenkai 14, do you deadass think he's gonna be good or usable? Like, I don't even think he'd be touched. Like in actual play, I don't think this unit would ever be used. Even if he got a Zenkai 14, shit, you give this guy a Zenkai 21 because you're assuming they're gonna double the power, right? Triple that fucking power. I still don't even think he'd be used. I just feel that system is very flawed in its logic, because you're not really giving this big amp to these units. Like, even when he first Zenkai'd, he was the worst one of the three. And that's not to say the others were bad. DBZ Broly was very good. LF Beerus was #1 in the game. But it's like, this wasn't even, like, this unit wasn't good in particular. DBZ Broly wasn't even that great in particular as well when he first Zenkai'd. Obviously, I'm referring to this one here. So it's like, you could do that, but it wouldn't even fix everything. It would just kind of make the same system that already happened, where this Zenkai is probably dead on release, or it's very good and there's no middle line to that. Like, this guy was dead on release on a Zenkai, right? This FSK was pretty good. He actually existed as a counter to Fat Boo, who was broken beyond belief, and you could just obviously run a full Zenkai team, which you can't do nowadays. Thank God. Maybe you would be able to with Zenkai 14, but he used to run like a full Zenkai team. Fat Boo was just too good. He was broken, right? So FSK, purple FSK there, was pretty solid. Fat Boo was broken. Yellow Goku Black was ass. Scouter Vegeta was ass. So it's kind of just, they didn't know how to balance it back then. What makes me think, or you think even, that they know how to balance it now? There's no real proof to this pudding, I guess you could put it, because, I mean, do you see what we have in the meta right now? Do you see the unbalancedness of the PvP circuit that we have going out? The circus, I guess you could call it, with this goofy motherfucker being, like, unstoppable, unkillable, demon-like god. Like, I mean, look what this support unit does in comparison to the other support unit that just dropped as the festival unit. Like, it's not even comparable how good Pan is to 17. So I don't think relying on their idea to balance is necessarily good. Just giving us raw numbers, as again, like I mentioned, the featured boost situation of X tag, it kind of gives you a solution to what's going to be buffed. You can kind of think of, okay, well, I don't really care about these tags, so I don't give a fuck, right? I'm just going to main my tag, whatever I'm using still. Great, cool. You don't have to use the new tag that's going to get buffed. But if you care about it, at least it gives you like a little bit of a silver lining to want to at least feel enticed to play the game and at least try your stuff while your units are extra buffed, because they definitely need it. Like, again, you look at a top 10 list, there's no full concrete thing of, hey, yeah, this unit is really good because of this meta. Like, doesn't even exist right now, right? Like, maybe units gain value in different metas, like, I don't know, the droids gain more value because they can rush out Beast Gohan, they can rush out LF Forku, and that's, you know, two Sun Family characters that probably run on the same team sometimes, because you'll see, like, Pan, Forku, Beast. That's a thing. Great, you gain more value. Did you become meta? Fuck no! Units really don't gain that much of a big oomph nowadays because of how far the power creep has gone with a unit such as this character, and the only way to kind of not stop that, not even stall that, but help that from overexerting itself would just be give them buffs to the other tags that don't have the help that this one tag has beyond belief and beyond existence. I mean, that's really the only solution. Zenkai 14ing, okay, this one unit got a Zenkai. So what does that do for my entire tag exactly? Can't even speak. What does that do for my entire tag exactly? Nothing? Okay, well, maybe I'll wait 2 more weeks for this other unit on that tag to get a Zenkai. And they usually don't even do Zenkais on the same tags back to back to back unless it's alluding to a big celebration, kind of like they did for GT here, but that's only once every 6 months. So that probably wouldn't be a consistent thing, because it's probably going to be like, okay, green transforming future Gohan, Zenkai 14, and then transforming base to Super Saiyan DBS Gogeta, Zenkai 14. So where am I running these two exactly? Like, why am I thinking of this like, okay, that's great, Future Gohan got a Zenkai. Great, awesome, we love that for transforming Future Gohan, the green one. So what am I doing with him? He has nobody else that got help. And he's the only one that got help. Oh, so I'm leader slotting him. And which is even more of a problem because you just have the leader slot characters and it's just fucking ignorant, because what the fuck does leader slotting do? It makes, not even unorthodox, it makes very concrete teams that are all the same teams, and you wish they would be unorthodox teams with like different stuff and just different testing outs of characters, but no. Even more so, you know, pure equips usually go off base tags, and if you're going for a leader slot situation, you're usually just screwing over your leader slotted unit because they're going to be on a tag that doesn't give them the pure equip buffs, and usually the pure equip buffs, more or less of the time, is like their best thing they're going to get from that situation. Like running, I don't even know. Running Ultra DBZ Broly without movies so he doesn't get his pure strike defense is very dumb, because this is a defending unit. He wants to get that pure strike defense. Running him off movies gives him none of that, and that makes him a lot more fragile. So what do you want to do? Well, you want to run him on that setup, right? And it just kind of like, it's just wonky, the entire system leader slot. But I don't know. That's my solution to how they could manage the game better in a setting of power creep, power buffs. I don't know what the fuck you'd even call it at this point. Just obscenities, because that's what the game's at right now. I would just say, hopefully they just start tier buffing tags, and then from there, you give buffs to those tags that are in the tier buffs of A tier, B tier, S tier, featured, whatever the fuck it is. And it could allude to stuff. It could make the game more centered around the idea of not 1 unit, more around 30 units, 40 units. I'm not saying 100 units have to be, you know, within this Z plus to like S plus range. That'd be great, but it's not realistic. I just want like 30 to like 50. It's pretty realistic, as you have games where every hero is like, or every character, I mean, you can refer to hero, sure, why not? Every hero slash character is like a little bit overpowered than the other, but nothing too far extent-wise, where it's like, oh my god, this is unbelievably, undeniably the best thing you can always pick and always have 24/7. Well, Beast Gohan, that's exactly what that is. So making the balance to kind of amend that is probably a goal they actually do have. Maybe not a focused goal, but definitely a goal they probably do have. It's just, how do you get there? Well, here's a solution-ish, kind of. It's not a Band-Aid, but it's not a surgery to fix your fucking arm if it's broken and falling off, right? It's not that, but it's kind of a little bit better than the Band-Aid. So I would say this is helpful. Let me know what you guys think. I'll see you guys in the next one.